Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might happen to be, and welcome to the WDW Fan Zone podcast. We welcome you today, and we hope that you enjoy listening. We hope that you've are just coming back from being here last week as well. But if you were here last week, you did see that we started talking about the resorts, namely the Deluxe resorts, and we're going to include some DVC properties in that. And we were talking about three of the things that we like about each of them, and three of the things that aren't quite as likable by us about each of them. So we're going to get back into that today. But before we get back into that today, just want to talk about a couple of things. And first of all, unfortunately, we are not going to have our news program this evening. We're sorry that we're not able to bring that to you. Jess, our news person, she's actually having a little trouble with her voice today, and we don't want her to strain it. So we're hopefully going to have her back on next week, all back to normal. And also, before we're going to get started here, I do want to let everybody know that we do have a website that's been reestablished for the WDW Fan Zone podcast. It is www.wdwfanzoneshow.com. That's wdwfanzoneshow.com. You're welcome to come visit there, and maybe we'll add some more content out there. We do have our podcasts out there. We also have an app out on the Apple App Store if you want to visit that. And on social media, we are currently active on Facebook and Instagram, and you'll find our podcasts out on YouTube, and hopefully we'll have some additional videos out on YouTube over time as well. We have discontinued our X account, and we're not on Threads or any other social media, so hopefully you'll come visit us on social media, ask any questions, or let us know what you think about the podcast. So before we get started here, one more thing I want to do is to introduce our team here. So I'm John Maloney. I'm the host, and also as our co-host this evening, I'm going from top to bottom on my screen, but Kurt, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Kurt. And Lottie.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, too. So I guess that tells everybody when we're recording. That's all right. So anybody can listen whenever they want to. So as I said, we are following up from last week where we were talking about the deluxe resorts and some of the things we like and don't like about them. We got through a few last time, but this time we're going to try to get through some more and maybe get through all of them. And we're also going to give a little bit of love to the DVC properties as well, because in my opinion, they're on par with the deluxe resorts anyway. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started with the contemporary this evening. And Kurt, if it's okay with you, I'm going to start with you and ask you to share three of the things that you like about the contemporary and three of the things that maybe aren't your favorites or don't quite connect as much with you.
Well, I stay a lot at Bay Lake Tower, which is connected to the contemporary. So I look from that aspect of it. I'll draw all the things that are inside the contemporary as well. I do know I asked my friend, he actually stayed at the contemporary recently, and he loved it. He loves the new theming from the Incredibles theming that they have going on in there now. It's beautiful. The things I love about it, though, how close it is. It's walking distance to the Magic Kingdom. So, and you literally have your own security gate right there. It's 3/4 of a mile walk to the main gate. That's my number one thing. I really love, and obviously also along with that, with the closeness, you can hop right on the monorail on the fourth floor. You're the first exit over the ticket and transportation, which gets you right over to Epcot then also. So those are my two things with the location that I love. The variety of table service options that they have there is second to none. It's incredible. Very unique as far as that's concerned. Great view of the fireworks. You can literally watch it from the fourth floor or if you have reservations, watch it from the. There's a couple areas out on the top floor where you can go to actually watch it. If you are a DVC member, you can go to the Top of World Lounge. Another great view. They pipe the music in, guys. It's incredible to watch those fireworks from there. A couple things I don't like about it. Very poor quick service choices.
Mm.
It is
Mm.
when you're staying there and you've got to leave and go somewhere else to get a quick service meal. That's not very quick. The pool options, there's two. They've gotten a little bit better. I can tell you when it's 95 degrees out, if they have the white concrete, you are frying walking around at that pool. It's hot.
Well,
I
there's a
know
lot of
over at DVC,
concrete. Yeah.
yeah, it's the contemporary look, so it's all concrete, but at least over at the DVC section, they darkened up the concrete to like a tannish color, and that really absorbs more of the temperature, and it's actually easier on the foot than you would think. I thought it was going to be hotter, and it really wasn't. Somehow the concrete absorbs the heat, and I I like that a lot better. But I don't know if that's available everywhere or if that's only available at the DVC pool because I have not been back to the contemporary pool. So that's not comfortable at all. Um, the other the water bridge is the only thing I could think of that was bad. You get the deluge that pours down in the summertime. The water bridge that goes over the top of the town to get to uh, over the contemporary, unfortunately, floods, and
Oh,
it's a
you
good
mean
30 minutes.
the walking bridge from Bay
Oh
Lake,
no,
or are you talking about
no,
to,
the driving bridge to get under.
oh,
There's
oh,
a
yeah,
water
yeah,
bridge
yeah,
that goes
yeah.
from Bay Lake.
You're talking about
So Bay
driving.
Lake to the lagoon, there's a bridge that the water comes to the top of the boats. So when you go underneath of that, it floods. That water is 4 to 6 feet deep, and it takes about a half hour for them to drain that. Because there was a cast member that was late to work one year when we were there, and she's like, I tried to get here, I couldn't get here because everything just stops until they can drain that thing. So that's the only negative. I mean, if that's the only negative I can think of, I'll take it. So because usually I'm walking around at the park at that time anyway. So
Right. Well, Lottie. So, what? So first of all, Kurt's told us he had enough time visiting over at Bay Lake. What's your experience or opportunity to even visit Contemporary in Bay Lake?
So I've stayed at Contemporary once, and I visit quite often actually, because California Grill, Steakhouse 71 are a couple of my favorite table service restaurants, and so especially Steakhouse 71 for breakfast. It's really good breakfast. Not as good as Bowman, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I do. Oh, and shopping and uh, watching the fireworks. Uh, that's a great location to watch the fireworks from, especially if you had a reservation at California Grill. You can always go back and see the fireworks from, excuse me, from the Contemporary. So those are some of the things I like. I love the restaurants. Um, Chef Mickey's, Steakhouse 71, California Grill. Like Kurt, I love the location. It's just a stone's throw, literally a walk over to the Magic Kingdom, and you've got your own, just like most of the other uh, uh, deluxe resorts that are connected. You've got security that you go through on the walk, so you don't have to stand in the lines once you get to Magic Kingdom. And shopping, there's a couple little um, stores right there. You could see one from the monorail. I can't remember the name of it, and I know it's Fantasia themed. And then the one right across from that always seem to have really great, some of the more high end souvenirs, and so bougie me, I like those.
they're
Uh,
kind of unique too. I wasn't able to find them anywhere else.
yeah, yeah, I love those shops. Things that I dislike, um, they have. I went there for um and needed to use the conference rooms. I don't like the positioning of their conference room locations.
Hmm?
So if you're staying on property and you got to get to conference rooms. It's kind of inconvenient to get back between your room and the conferencing locations. It's just the way it's built is a little wonky to me. It's almost like it was an afterthought. Well, I guess it was because that was added later, I believe. I believe, but at Coronado and over at Yacht and Beach Club, the additions of conferencing areas is it just is more walkable
More
and easier,
natural. Yeah.
more natural.
Hmm.
Yeah, yep. And then dislike, I don't, you know what? Outer Rim is one of the few bars on property that I just don't really like.
Don't lie.
It's it's great for monorail. It's always a tongue twister. Monorail bar crawl.
Mm.
So you gotta stop, at Outer Rim, but it's compared to the Enchanted Rose over at the Grand Floridian or uh, 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 Trader Joe's over at Polynesian. They have to do something about that bar to get it
It,
up to the standards of the other monorail resorts.
it seems to me that it just kind of gets swallowed up by everything else in the atrium there. You almost don't even realize it's a lounge.
It's
Yeah,
just hidden in the corner. It
it is.
feels like the corner.
It
Yeah.
is. Well, I mean, it is the corner right
Yeah.
next door
Right.
to everybody's going to Chef Mickey's. Nobody's thinking about Outer Rim, but
Yeah.
I really wish they do something with it, theming or something to make it
To stand out a
more.
little bit. Yeah.
By the
Well,
way, you hit it on the head. It's called Fantasia or Fantasia Market. There's the two of them right there.
Yeah.
So it was Fantasia. You hit it on the head.
Mm.
okay. Anything else that isn't on your like list for the contemporary
Mm.
Bay Lake?
No, I just wrote down two things: Outer
Okay.
Rim and conference location.
Okay. Okay. Well, you guys have stolen a lot of my thunder, but that's fine. So, I mean, walking to the Magic Kingdom, the contemporary is so unique uh, among all of the other resorts, any kind of resort. It is the shortest walk to the Magic Kingdom. You can walk to the Magic Kingdom from the Grand Floridian, and it's a nice walk, but it's twice as long to get there. So to have the most popular park and to have the closest resort to walk to it, that's definitely saying something. And you certainly have the monorail access. So you can take the monorail to the park if you want to, but the fact that you can take the monorail to the other resorts that are on the monorail loop as well, or to do the monorail bar crawl or whatever, having that monorail access and having it come through there iconically through the atrium, that's that's old school Walt Disney World resort, and certainly something that I think stands up very well today. But so that was something else I had, and the shops. So the shops, I had that on my list too. It's got a good variety shopping. I love the fact that it's got cupcakes and treats there in the shop. So you don't have to go to a separate store along with the shop. You can get and we've gotten cupcakes there many times. And they have some unique items, like you said, and they've got a good variety. So those were the things that I had on my list, and I agree with you. Steakhouse 71 and and the other dining there, you've got a great package. So those are some of the things that I have for what I liked. As far as dislikes, it's interesting. So I had the monorail as being one of my likes, and and this might be a little picky, but there's there's some things about the monorail that I don't like, and that is the fact that it gets so crowded at certain times of the day. And when you're trying to find a place to even board the monorail, and a lot of times you can't find a place to sit down. It's very, at those times of the day, it's very noisy and hectic. And, if you're tired and you just like to get a seat to get back to the contemporary in Bay Lake, it's, again, it's a little picky on my part, but there are times when the monorail is not my favorite. So both sides of the coin there. I agree that the counter service really needs improvement. The Contempo Cafe has got a great location, but it is not high on my list of counter services. And the last thing that I have, and it's just part of being in Walt Disney World and part of being a deluxe resort, but when it comes to renting a room or using your DVC points, it's a higher cost for renting a Disney room, higher point value for getting in there. So it's a trade-off, certainly. So you've got to definitely invest more to stay there. So I love to be there, but if I'm staying at Bay Lake Tower, it's taking more of my points to do it. So that's, again, it's just one of the things you got to deal with. It's a trade-off.
One of the things with the combining one of our pros with a con to make everything better, we talked about the location being able to just walk right to the park, which is great. But then again, after you walk 10 miles, the last thing you want to do is keep walking all the way back. It's the first drop off.
It is.
So you're able to usually get a seat and just get out. And then you're walking. That saves you about 3/4 of a mile of a walk.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. Yep.
So, but with it being the first drop off, I find that more of a benefit than the other two monorail resorts. So,
oh, yeah.
Because the other, you just can't, like you said last time, we just can't get on it.
Well, then let's move forward to another monorail resort and the Polynesian. So, Kurt, what do you have for your likes and dislikes, or not as much likes, for the Polynesian, and including the DVC part of it?
So we have stayed there once. We stayed there in the DVC wing when they first opened in the little studio villa, and no matter where you are there, just you look out over the bay, the Seven Seas Lagoon, and there's Cinderella Castle. So you have a great view of the castle during the day. They pipe in the music. You have a great view of Happily Ever After at night. It's just that the whole ambiance there too. You've got the South Pacific vibe when you're there. They got the music playing all the time. It's a great view. We talked about this with other ones. The water pageants right there comes right in front of you. Love the variety of dining options and for table, quick service, and your lounge. Some of the best breakfast I've had on property is at the Polynesian in their quick service. So those are the things I really loved about it. I probably listed off more than 3. As far as things I disliked, if you're in those DVC villas, you're really close to that boat launch. And at night, those horns are going off. So you can hear the horns. So, yes, they stop at around 10 o'clock with the horns, but you're up until then, it's there.
Something to think about. That's an important thing for people to think about if they're going to be running a Run Disney race. So if you're trying to get rest, and it could be the boat launch, or it could be the water pageant. So
also true.
If you've got a room near and facing Seven Seas Lagoon, and you're trying to get to bed early, and the fireworks too, those are great things to have right there, but they're not great things if you're trying to get to sleep early.
Exactly. Personally, I'm kind of sad because I do want to see this tower, but I miss the luau. So my wife got dragged up on stage. So my wife is known as the hula queen. she was forced to solo on the stage. Yes, I have video evidence of it, but she won't let me play it. But I miss the fact that that's not there. Otherwise, I really, not a lot of negatives with the Polynesian. Other than those couple of things, it's been a while since we've been there. I miss that we can't walk on the beach. I was there the year the incident happens at the Polynesian. I understand why they no longer allow you on the beach. but it's still a great view.
Yeah, it's all roped off now, but thank goodness
Mm-hmm.
that they've got those safety measures in place now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you, Kurt. All right,
Mm-hmm.
Lottie. What is your experience? Start off with your likes on the Polynesian?
So you have to know that the Polynesian is my bucket list stay. If
Oh.
go to Disney World and money was not an option, I would hands down pick the Polynesian. Um, some of the things I like about it, I like the smell of the Polynesian. You just
Mm-hmm.
there's something about the smell. My husband bought candles that are supposed to smell like the Polynesian. I don't know how close they really are, but I guess I just say that I like it because he bought it. I don't know, but uh, the Polynesian smells wonderful.
Does it
Um,
smell like a Dole Whip?
no, it doesn't smell like a Dole Whip.
More
It's like
tropical
Oh,
it,
it's the
foliage.
tropical smell.
Yeah.
tropical
Yeah,
water, coastal.
Yeah.
yeah.
It just smells really, really good. Um, Trader Sam's, best bar on property. I absolutely love Trader Sam's. I will go uh in anytime if somebody wants to meet me at Trader Sam's, I am there. Also, pineapple lanai, it's like the easiest access to a Dole Whip ever is if you're staying at the Polynesian. And there's usually multiple flavors on tap. So um absolutely love sneaking over to the Polynesian to get a Dole Whip and then going to Trader Sam's for a drink and then headed back out on my way. Dislikes. You already talked about this a little bit with the contemporary, but the monorail stop for the Polynesian, if you're trying to get back to the parks, it is awful. And there isn't a ton of waiting space there, so it gets congested really quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just it it you lose the magic of being at a monorail stop when you have to wait so long to get a seat, to get a space on the monorail. Um, it's always super busy there. It's always seems to be very busy at the Polynesian, and so that's something else that I don't like about it because for it to be such a beautiful and aromatic resort, I don't want it flooded with people. So I got to make sure that when I do my bucket list stay, that it's at a time when the park isn't as crowded because I really do want to enjoy it without the gobs of people that always seem to be there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Cool. Thank you. All right. Well, I'll share some things, and there's certainly some overlap here. But we talked about dining, and I agree all around. It's Captain Cook's is one of my favorite counter service restaurants, and Kona, Ohana. I'm not a big Trader Sam's guy. I've tried to get in a couple times, and I haven't had time. I haven't been able to wait long enough. Oh, and I did want
It's
to
like an
ask.
hour wait.
You gotta go like super early and wait for them to open.
but
I think they open at 4 o'clock.
but even then, so if you go super early, you have to wait before they open, and you still have to
Yeah,
wait. Yeah, I
it's
know, I know. Have either of you been to Trader Sam's at Disneyland?
no.
No.
Okay, that's right in the Disneyland hotel. So in the courtyard area within the towers, it's there and very popular, certainly there too. So, but yeah, the food, the dining, we go there to have a sit down restaurant meal at Kona or Ohana. We go there, and we're not staying there, and we have a counter service meal at Captain Cook's just because it's fun to go visit the Polynesian. It's fun to eat there, whether you go outside, if if it's nice weather outside and you have a Dole Whip or whatever. But yeah, the dining, certainly the proximity. So it's interesting. It's a Magic Kingdom resort, so it's close enough to the Magic Kingdom. You've got the monorail access. It technically, if you wanted to, you could walk to the Magic Kingdom from the Polynesian, and we have done it. It's not a short walk. You've got to really want to walk, and if you're going to be doing a 10-mile walk through the parks that day, maybe you don't want to do that. But if you're staying at the DVC towers, it's a very short walk to the ticket and transportation center. So that's a positive that I've seen. So sometimes we will go that way and get on the monorail that way instead of walking
Hmm.
over to the ceremonial house. But so certainly the proximity. And Lottie talked about the smell, and Kurt talked about the feel, but I mean the aesthetics. I
Hmm.
don't think, or I'm sorry, in my perspective, I think that the Polynesian has the best aesthetics of the resorts. It's got great theming. It's got all of the lush vegetation. It's got the water. It's got the volcano out back. And as Kurt said, you've got a great view of Seven Seas Lagoon and the Cinderella Castle. So I think the aesthetics are great there. And I'm just going to throw this in as kind of an honorable mention, but it's got a fabulous gift shop and a very unique gift shop.
Yeah.
There's not another gift shop like the Pollen. It's We talked before about the Animal Kingdom Lodge and how
Animal
that's
Kingdom
so
Lodge one,
unique.
right?
Well, the Polynesian's the same kind of thing. It's got
Hmm.
the Polynesian feel. It's got the Polynesian type of merchandise, whether it's Hawaiian shirts or coconuts that you can use as a postcard or whatever. I love the gift shop there too. So I just wanted to throw that in. As as far as things that don't thrill me as much, uh, I said you can walk to the Magic Kingdom, but it's not an easy walk. It's a long walk, and I, I just love the fact that, like I said before, that you can walk from the Contemporary to the Magic Kingdom so easily, and you can walk from the Grand Floridian, but for the monorail loop, I I would generally choose not to walk the Magic Kingdom from the Polynesian. Uh, One of the things that disappoints me, and this is changing now, but from as a DVC member, from the original DVC towers, there were no one bedrooms. But now that they do have the new tower, and I really want to try to stay there sometime. I was on a wait list coming up here in April, and I had two wait lists, one for Beach Club and one for the new tower. The Beach Club came through. There was nothing doing with the tower, so I'd love to try that sometime. And one other thing I do want to share from a DVC perspective is availability can be very tough for the
Hmm.
Polynesian. So now we'll see how it is now that it's expanded. Of course, there's more people buying into the Polynesian now too with the new tower. So it's very popular right now. The tower's hard to get into. See how that settles down after it's been open for a while. If overall there's any better access to the Polynesian from a DVC perspective.
Here's something funny about DVC resorts. All these studios that are opening up will sleep 5 people. You look at a lot of the studios and they sleep 5 people because they got that trundle bed that comes down. You go to a one bedroom and a lot of the older ones only sleep four.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't put the trundle bed. Even when they remodeled, they never added that trundle bed in there. Really easy. Give that extra fifth person. So
Yeah. Lottie's family would love to have
I know.
that.
So interesting. Well, funny story, really quick. We went to go tour the tower and we missed it by about 10 minutes. So we're like, we said what you said. We're like, we're not jumping on this monorail and circling all the way around. We'll just walk over to the parking lot. We may or may not have gotten a little bit lost, and luckily come upon someone with a golf cart. They are very friendly people. As soon as we said, "Hey, can you point us in the right direction?" They're like, "Get in," and they just flopped it back down, had us hop on there. She talked to us a little bit while we were going. She saved us about 20 minutes. Um, Very polite people. If you get lost, ask a cast member; they'll help you.
Great. Good reminder. Well, so moving back onto you then, Kurt. So I'm gonna move over to the Epcot resorts, and uh, I'm sorry, yeah, we're gonna move over to the Epcot resorts, and we're gonna combine the yacht and beach club together, including the beach club villas for DVC. So take it
Mhm.
away, Kurt.
Stormalong Bay. Drop the mic, enough said. Okay. Stormalong Bay, if you've never been there, it's a water park in itself. It is the only DVC pool that you are not allowed to pool hop to. That's how awesome and popular this pool is. So, um, it it used to actually have fish in there, and the fish didn't make it, so they don't have fish in there anymore. But it's got a lazy river. It's got some wonderful water slides. You actually can walk over towards the lake and climb up into that pirate ship, go all the way to the top, and ride the slide all the way down into Stormalong Bay. It is my favorite theme pool of all the resorts that we've ever stayed at. It's over the top. Um, Again, you've got walking distance to two parks and a Skyliner that goes to a third. So that aspect, perfect. It's great. Same thing, dining options we were just talking about as far as table service, um, beaches and cream. You got to have a reservation because otherwise you're not going to get in there. As far as we only had a couple things. Again, I just was talking about a one bedroom only sleeping four. I find it ridiculous that you can only get four people into a one bedroom DVC villa. And they're not the only ones, but I'm just trying to find things that I didn't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the limit, it's really limited with their quick service. Their options aren't very strong. But a lot of the deluxe resorts, not all of them, but there's more than one deluxe resort that does not have very good quick service um, dining options available. So,
Okay. Great. Thank you, Kurt. So, Lottie, what's your experience with the Yacht and Beach Club resorts, and what are the things that you like and dislike?
So I've stayed at, I can't remember if it was Yacht or Beach Club because people put them together so often that most people don't even know that they're two separate resorts. But I stayed there for a conference. For it was actually the Disney Institute Leadership Track, and the conferencing space there is just absolutely amazing. The staff is great, the food is wonderful, the location is perfect. Um, I love it because of the proximity to Epcot. So after conference, I could just walk to Epcot, and it was always a great evening. And the proximity to the Skyliner, I think Kurt already talked about that. That's like those are my favorite resorts to stay at, the ones that have multiple transportation options.
Yeah.
And so between the boats and the Skyliner and buses if you have to, and your own feet. Um,
Yeah. Is there another resort? I'm sorry, other than the Epcot resorts where you have Skyliner access, walking access, friendship boat, or some other kind of boat access, as well as buses?
yeah, not common. Great place
mm-mm.
to have a variety of transportation. Um, I mean, you can't talk about Yacht and Beach Club without talking about Stormalong Bay. That's like Kurt said, hands down, best pool, water park, water whatever on property is Stormalong Bay. Dislikes. I know I didn't mention it during Polynesian discussion, but it is really freaking expensive to stay there. Uh, I've only stayed there for conferences and Disney Institute, and you get discounted room rates then, so it wasn't as expensive, but it's still pretty expensive to stay there. But the rooms are fantastic.
Mm.
Um, Sometimes it bothers me that Yacht and Beach Club doesn't have as much theming as some of the other
Mm.
uh, uh, resort hotels. I would love to see a little bit more theming. And then it's crowded. This is another one that gets pretty crowded, especially the boardwalk in the evenings. I'm on vacation to relax, and after being in the parks all day, I don't want to be surrounded by a ton of folks. And I also agree with Kurt on the dining options. I'm a table service gal, and the table service options there. There's some good ones on the boardwalk, but there are not a ton of great dining options in the hotels themselves. They're okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I would
Right.
definitely agree with that. Yeah. And I very much agree with Kurt. Well, we'll get into my we'll get into my items here. So the things that I like, Stormalong Bay. I mean, that's three for three. There's you've said it all. I don't need to add any more. Absolutely. I've also done conferences there at the yacht club, and I agree. It's a great conference center, and it's great to have walking access to Epcot, and you've got the boardwalk as well. So I think that's one of the positive things is maybe the dining there isn't great, but you have access to so much more dining because of the boardwalk resorts there. But so the closest to Epcot certainly, as well as the entire boardwalk area. And one of the things that I like about the Yacht and Beach Club that is almost lost sometime, and I'm kind of glad it is. I love the solarium that they have. So
Hmm.
it can be a very nice, quiet place, and it's funny. It's kind of in between the main beach club hotel and then the DVC property, and people can walk through there. I don't know what it is. It still usually stays pretty quiet. So it's just a nice out of the way. It's kind of like the Carrollwood Pacific Room the
Yeah.
over at the Wilderness Lodge at the DVC for the Boulder Ridge
Copper
over
Creek.
there.
Yeah.
Boulder
Oh,
Ridge.
Boulder.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
get them backwards sometimes
I
myself.
always get those two mixed up.
But it's it's a nice quiet place. It's got a lot of space. It it's just relaxing there. So that's one of the things that I just thought was kind of different that I picked out on there. So as far as the things that I'm not quite as keen on, I agree with Lottie. They're an expensive property, and like I was saying before with DVC, it's funny. It's expensive. The points are higher, but it's hard to get into the Beach Club DVC. And I'm
Hmm.
fortunate that this is the first time I ever had a wait list go through. So I'm actually going to be staying there next month. So I'm very glad that I'm going to be staying at the Beach Club. Something else for people who drive, it is a small parking area, a very small parking lot. And we've talked on the podcast before about how difficult it is to get into a deluxe resort to go visit, because if you're not staying there, you don't have a mobile order, you don't have a reservation, they're not going to let you in. Well, they are really, really uh, guarding of that property because of how little parking there is, and it can be difficult to find a spot even if you are if you are staying there and they allow you in. So the parking can be very tight there, is something that I've noticed when I've driven a car. And from a food perspective, the thing that bothers me from a food perspective is the counter service, especially. So the
Hmm.
beach club at least now does have that little, you know, they have a few food options there in the gift shop, so it's kind of a combination of a little market and gift shop and some tables, and you can get some food to eat, but it's just nowhere near other counter service. Even the Grand Floridian. So the Grand Floridian has the Gasparilla Island Grill, which is a great counter service. So it's one of their most elite deluxe resorts, and it's got a counter service, but they don't have a good one at the Yacht and Beach Club, in my opinion, and especially when it's really trying to serve two resorts between Yacht and Beach. Anyway, so there's a few things that yeah, I wish that they could improve on from my perspective.
So you just were talking about availability, and I'm like, let me look that up. In the summertime, there are spotty areas available for one bedroom DVC resorts. Deluxe Studio, 2 days are available for the entire summer.
Really.
The 2 bedroom, 1 day is available. 1 day. The entire place is booked up for the entire June, July, and August.
Mm, wow.
That's how popular that place is.
Well, and the Beach Club doesn't have as many DVC rooms as some of the
No,
other DVC properties certainly. They've got that added on tower there. Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
I
I
just
think
found that interesting. Like you said, it's expensive. That got me.
yeah. Well, that's always a trade-off with any of the well, I shouldn't say some deluxe resorts more than others, but yeah, it's always a trade-off. Okay, so the last non-DVC property we're going to talk about, this may go pretty quickly, we'll see, but we're going to move on to the Riviera, and I'm not sure if either of you have even stayed there before, or if you've had the opportunity to
Just gone through there.
take a Skyliner
That is a.
ride over.
You said non-DVC resort. That's a DVC resort.
Well, I'm sorry. But it is you're right. It's a DVC resort. It's weird, but it's the only deluxe DVC only resort. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It, you think about things like the Grand Floridian. So you've got Old Key West and you've got Saratoga Springs, and they're DVC only, but
Mm-hmm.
they just don't seem to present themselves like the Riviera does. So you're right; it is a DVC only property. Even you can rent a room there, but it's strictly a DVC resort.
Right.
So, but anyway, so what's your experience, or what do you have to share with the Riviera there?
Which one of us?
I'm sorry, Kurt.
Uh, the plus. I three quick things. Plus Skyway. Okay. Beautiful that stained glass mural that goes through there. That's all themed. I mostly think of Tangled. I don't know if there's more in there or not.
There is,
Okay,
yeah,
but okay, so
but it's
the Tangled
beautiful.
just sticks in my mind. Um, and then there's one negative, and I heard about this in another podcast. I'm like, wow, that's right, that did happen to us. Yes, it's a Skyway, but it's hard to get on the Skyway because you're a middle stop, and nobody wants to get off their Skyway bucket. So now you're either shared with somebody else or you're waiting. And they said they used to, like, one in every 10, they'd leave it empty so the bucket could go that way, and then you could fill someone from the Riviera. It's not that way anymore, they said. At least not in the mornings. That's what. Then this was just discussed. I'm like, oh, I got something new I can talk about. Unfortunately, as a negative.
Yeah, yeah.
So depending on the time of year you're going, you may not be getting in that bucket.
Agreed. Anything else to share there, Kurt?
No,
Okay.
that's it. I've
Okay.
never been there.
Yeah. Lottie, what's your experience? Have you visited the Riviera, or have you stayed there?
I have visited.
Okay.
It is beautiful. I've not stayed there yet. Uh, we're talking about staying. I probably should get my reservations together for wine and dine weekend, but we were talking about looking at Riviera this year. Um, maybe we'll get it, maybe not. But I like Kurt, love the mosaics. They are just gorgeous, and you don't have to stay there to see them. You can walk through and take a look at them. The work on those mosaics is just brilliant. The bar that's on the inside, on the main level and the lobby level, is I can't remember the name of it, but it is probably
Bar
one of the most.
Riva?
Bar Riva, yep, probably one of the most beautiful bars on property. Um, Great place to have a really expensive drink. The whole place really just feels really opulent and excessive for all the good reasons. I really like it. Dislikes, I wrote down the very thing that Kurt said is the Skyliner wait. So I've done a bar crawl on the Skyliner too, and the wait time from the Riviera station is unfortunate.
Yeah,
It is unfortunate,
it's tough because it's in between. It's in between the Caribbean beach and Epcot.
which is the main hub. The Caribbean, I mean, the Caribbean beach is the main hub. So it's really hard to get to get a car on the Skyliner. I have actually um, thought about walking to see if I could get on the Skyliner at the same time
Over at
folks were
Caribbean Beach, right?
yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think that's probably what some people do. It's not that far a walk.
Mm-mm.
And it depends on how tired you are. Do you want to spend the time? Do you think you are going to be faster that way?
Right.
Sounds like a research trip that we should go down and do
Sounds
some
like.
timing.
Now, the way you would be booking it is different than how or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
different than how John and I would be booking it. Um, there's no nights available during Wine and Dine right
Oh
now.
well, what a
It's
shame.
already gone. But they always save, is it 10%, John? 10% of them are strictly for either refurbishment or for someone like you to be able to rent it.
Right.
They might be available, but they're not
Yeah,
for
books.
booking. Those are gone at 7 months, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you can
Unfortunately.
certainly try to do, which we've talked about before, is to rent DVC points from a third party, or if you know somebody that has DVC points, and uh, certainly subject to availability from a DVC point
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a 1 bedroom available. You want a 1 bedroom?
Yeah, that's not going to cost many points, is it? No.
No, it's only about $1,000 a night.
Oh my. Anything else, Lottie? All right. Well, I've had the opportunity to stay here. I think it was only for one or two. I think it was 1 or 2 nights. I haven't been back, but I agree with what you said about the mural mosaic, the Skyliner, and what you said, Lottie. I think it's a beautiful property, and I like that it has the decorations for Walt and his visits to Europe. So they've got a lot of pictures of him there. And you talk about aromatic. That lobby really has a strong aroma to it. And some people it might be a little overwhelming for, but it's just one of the things that I thought about when you walk into that lobby there, that aroma strikes you. But I'm not saying whether that's a like or a dislike, but that's one of the things I thought about. Uh, so, and if you want to see the Riviera, it's great that you have two ways to get there. So if you're not staying there and you just want to visit, you can take the Skyliner, or if you're staying at Caribbean Beach, you can walk over. And so that one of the things that I have as a like is there's so much walking available because of that. So it's the same, shares a lake with Caribbean Beach, so you can walk around that lake. If you're a runner, it's a good route or a loop to have for running in the morning. So I like you have that added space to walk around, and you can go visit the Caribbean Beach, or you can take the Skyline if you want to go somewhere. I love the dining at the Riviera. I love Topolino Terrace. It's hard to get into it. I'm fortunate I've been there for both dinner and for brunch. And the brunch with the character brunch is great, and the food's great. It's not inexpensive, but I love the experience of Topolino Terrace. It's got a great view up there too. So that's one of my big things. But it's not just Topolino Terrace, but also Primo Piatto. Primo Piatto is a really good counter service, and they've got mobile order available. So when we were staying there for, I think it was for dinner, we had a 1 bedroom, and I just did a mobile order. I walked downstairs, picked it up, and brought it back up, and had it on our table there in the room. So, and I've also stopped in there in my car. So I used my mobile order to get into the resort, pick up my dinner, and take it to the resort where I was staying. So I do like the dining there. As far as dislikes, it's what I don't like is that you've got such a high profile deluxe resort, but you can't walk to any park. I love the Skyliner, but as we said, the Skyliner can be a challenge, but you can't walk to a park. You can't walk to Epcot. You can't walk to Magic Kingdom. You can't walk anywhere. So, and the Skyliner can be a little bit of a challenge. Uh, the DVC points for this property are really high, really high. So, and what happens, what I've seen happen a lot of time is the the standard views are gone first. And so you end up having the deluxe views, and those deluxe views are even higher still. And if I'm going to spend my points, I've bypassed it just because the points were too high. So,
do you want me to tell the points? Because I'm looking at it right here.
Go ahead.
Points in October. For those who are DVC members, like Sunday to Thursday point is $49 for a
49 points.
Bedroom. 49 points, sorry, for a 1-bedroom, as
for one night.
opposed to somewhere like we'll say Old Key West, which is going to be really low. A 1-bedroom villa in Old Key West is only 28 points during that same time.
Yeah.
So you're looking at almost double the points.
Yeah.
It's amazing what it's kind of ironic because they took an area that no one wanted to stay in from Caribbean Beach Resort and dropped it and built this beautiful, huge DVC resort. And it's I think it's one of the, if not the most expensive place to stay.
Yeah.
Great view of the fireworks from Epcot.
Didn't they get rid of like a whole section of Caribbean Beach to build this?
Yeah, wasn't it like the pirate section or something like that? That they had to build a pirate section because no one wanted to stay there? Because it's too far to the main area.
Right.
So, yeah. It's ironic, don't you think?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Alanis. We appreciate that. Okay. So, so we only have a little bit of time left. Do we want to try to knock the remaining DVC properties out? You think we could do this
DVC
quick fire?
DVC cabins and Old Key West
and Saratoga Springs. Let's give it a try.
Oh.
So let's see if we can.
You got any of these?
I need a nap. That's what I need.
Okay, so that's more incentive for us to try to power through here quickly. So moving on to you, Kurt, and Saratoga Springs.
Okay. Saratoga Springs. It's themed like Saratoga Stables, okay, but it's spread out like crazy. So it's like all over the place. But so where's my list? There's so much things that you can do there because of the way it was designed for what it was originally designed for. So you got Surrey bike rentals, you've got craft stuff going on, you got fishing you can do, you got the bikes you can rent, there's campfires, there's movies, there's golf, there's everything. So there's a ton of amenities. If you can't find something to do here, you're not alive anymore because there's something for everyone to do. Okay, you are walking distance to Disney Springs if you're on that end. Otherwise, take the boat. Those are the big things that were really good about them.
Okay, real quick. What about about some dislikes?
It's only close to Disney Springs. Otherwise, it's like being out at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's so far away from everything. You are bus transportation dependent unless you have a rental car. And again, it's such a large resort. If you walked over to try to get food and then walk back to your far end villa, your food is cold. So it's very large and expansive.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Lottie. What's your experience here? What do you have to share for Saratoga Springs?
One time, I rented DVC points and stayed at Saratoga Springs one time. It's the only DVC resort that I've actually stayed at. I love the ability to walk to Disney Springs. I did stay far enough on that side of the resort to be able to walk back and forth, and so it's great for dinner options. What I didn't like was how small the rooms are. Rooms are a lot smaller than what I expected, and I don't like how spread out the resort is. You just if you're especially if you're staying close to Disney Springs, you've got to take the internal bus to get to the main building.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and the few things that I have to share here real quickly, I have stayed here. In fact, it was my very first DVC stay, so it was the extra incentive points that I got. That's where we stayed with 6 of us. But the things that I like about it are both DVC related. it's almost always available. And now I'm
Mm.
starting to find some times now where that's not the case. So there are times when nothing's available from a DVC perspective, but it's the property that's usually available if nothing else is. And the DVC points are reasonable when you start looking at a one bedroom. And I love it when I get the chance to stay at a one bedroom, but the points are reasonable for that. As far as dislikes, I don't think it's got good sit down dining, and so I would never go there for sit down dining. And since it is so spread out, since you mentioned, there's some areas of the resort that are just not at all convenient to walk to the central location. So it's great. That's why it has availability. It's got so many rooms, but it definitely makes it difficult to get to that main area. So that's the few things I have to share there. So let's try to keep moving here. Moving on to Old Key West, and Kurt, what do you have to share here?
Boat ride to Disney Springs when there's water in the boat for them to get there. I love the Key West beach theme. It is just beautiful. And it is probably the largest rooms on property. However, it is extremely spread out, just as bad as Saratoga Springs. Um, Again, your only transportation is by bus, and you are uh, what was that other thing? Limited food options, very limited. There is no indoor dining area at all for quick service.
For quick service,
Oh, and
right?
by the way, if you're in a one bedroom, you've got to, if you're sleeping out in the living room, you got to walk through the bedroom to get to the
Oh,
bathroom. There's no exit. There's only
yeah.
one bathroom. There's no external entrance to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Uh, how about you, Lottie? Have you stayed at Old Key West? Sounds like no.
This this is the easy one. I've not stayed. I've never visited.
Okay, that makes it easy. Okay, then we can keep moving on. So the things that I have for likes, it's got some of the lowest points for a DVC property. And when you combine that, like Kurt said, with the large rooms, especially their one bedrooms, it's a good value and it's comfortable. It I love the feeling. So you talked about the Key West theme. I love the relaxed, comfortable feel of that property. So I agree that to get around, if you're going to walk, it's not as easy. But I feel better walking around in there than I do in Saratoga Springs. So it's nice, comfortable. They do have a good sit down dining restaurant there,
mhm.
but yeah, they don't have the good sit, or they don't have a place to sit inside for the counter service. Some of the things that I don't like, it is farther to walk to the central area like Saratoga Springs. I said it's more comfortable, but it's still a long walk. Uh, Again, there's no walking to any park, and the bus loops can be a little frustrating. So you get on the bus, and I usually don't know where I'm going. Am I about to leave the resort, or I'm going the whole way around?
All the way to the back. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a little challenging from a transportation perspective, certainly. Okay, so I don't know. Does anybody have any? I don't know. Has anybody even stayed at the cabins at Fort Wilderness or
I
visited
know
them?
people that have.
Okay.
I know people that have. My brother stayed at the original cabins, which were larger than these. So I do have pros and cons for the DVC cabins.
Well, go ahead and rattle
So
them off.
based off of all the literature that we received, because we looked into this, we thought about staying there. They're built in the woods, so you got wildlife galore all around you. You could wake up in the morning and see a deer standing right on your front porch. Um, Not that it happens, don't quote me, but I know there's a lot of wildlife back in there, and I know looking out there you'll see it. It is very quiet because of its location. Um, and outdoor grilling is available there, believe it or not. They have an outdoor grill right there in front. Um, Things I don't like about it, again, it's smaller than the old like single wide mobile home that used to be there, which are still available, by the way, just not as many of them. Um, it's just cramped to get 6 people to stay in there, you've got a queen size bed in the master bedroom and 2 bunk beds. And that's what it was with the other one as well. But then you've just got a couch right outside that door, and the kitchen's right there next to it. It's really short. And then on the far end is 1 bathroom. So 1 bathroom for an entire family. Just that's my complaint about the 1 bedrooms at Old Key West. So um, transportation also, I hope you either have a golf cart to get around or a car, because the bus, it's a huge area. It's all mixed in with the regular Fort Wilderness. So just trying to get to the boat, yeah, you can take a boat to the Magic Kingdom, but just getting to the boat's going to take you a long time. So bring a car.
Cool. Well, we're about to ready to wrap up here. Thank you, Kurt, for being able to fill in there. I don't have anything to add, so appreciate you being able to give us something to go with there. So that's going to wrap it up. We got through a lot. It took us 2 podcasts, but we hope that you got some ideas and maybe go out and try some things as a result of talking here. So before I have our co-host sign off, I just want to remind everybody that you can connect with us on social media, the things I shared at the beginning, and certainly come visit our website, and hope you come back next week. So let's go ahead and close it out.
Good night, everybody.
See you real soon.
And I wasn't sure we were going to get through everything today. So I had something prepared in case we weren't going to, but we did. So, but I was gonna close it out with look out, boys, I'm coming through, and I'm almost there, almost there. People gonna come here from everywhere, and I'm almost there. Anyway, that was terrible, Tiana. I am no Tiana. But again, we are so thankful that you've listened to us. We hope you come back again next week, and we hope to see you, and hope we're almost there to next week. Everybody have a great week. Good night. Okay, that was terrible. Not you guys, me. That was terrible.
I was trying to hold my eyelids up the last
Yeah, I when you said that, I was saying, oh my gosh, I want to try to squeeze this in, but we're gonna make Lottie tired.
Oh, I'm so no, I my train got in so late last night, so I didn't get home. And I was up at